Looking for a new place? Buyer beware. You could be in for a haunting surprise if it turns out your piece of the American dream was the prior owner's meth house nightmare.
Hi.
Hello there.
I'm Ryan with KCCI.
Oh, Ryan, nice to meet you.
Did you know that this home used to be a meth site?
A what?
Unsuspecting residents were unaware of potential drug-related dangers lurking behind their front doors.
Did you know that this property is listed on the DEA's meth lab list?
No.
Until we showed up.
You guys were told nothing about
No,
this.
nothing.
Rodrigo Salvatierri says his family has been renting this two-story house for the past year, never knowing the history behind it. I uncovered this list from the Drug Enforcement Administration, and in big bold letters, Salvatierri's address, along with hundreds of others in the metro detailing where meth labs once were.
It was a big shock. I was not expecting that at all.
The volatile ingredients can ignite deadly fires. Hazmat crews move in to clean up the toxic scene immediately after a meth lab bust. Fast forward a few months, for sale signs go up and homes get rented out. According to local law enforcement, the hazardous effects of a former meth house could linger for years.
People may not even know when they're moving into these homes where, a meth lab may have occurred, that they may be exposed to those chemicals and to the dangers that may be lingering because of the meth lab exposure.
Residue gets in the carpet, gets in the drape, and a real bad one, the wallboard.
Turns out the only law in place helps potential homeowners, not renters, and states disclosure is only necessary if the residents suffered significant defects in the structural integrity. In other words,
Got a loophole, a problem, but it's not right.
if a meth lab leaves no mark, you'd likely never know about it. And it's not just new tenants, the county is left in the dark too.
If the property's been a drug house or a meth lab or something, the seller's probably not going to give that information up to us. And the buyer's probably going to be unaware of it.
Property assessor Randy Ripperger is now using the list of local homes registered on the DEA's website to help determine its value. For renters and future homeowners, the only way to pinpoint a problem that seems to know no boundaries.
The people that produce this poison, my opinion, deserve a hotter place in hell.
A KCCI investigation revealed dozens of renters unaware their home once housed a dangerous drug operation.
It was a big shock.
At 2002 East 12th Street, Paul Valin's response was no different.
Did you know that this home used to be a meth site?
A what?
Turns out police did remove meth-making products from his home a few years ago, but it's not what you think.
Never took part in the production of methamphetamine here at this home?
That is true. I swear.
An avid kayaker, Valin spotted a backpack floating along the Des Moines River. Doing his part to keep the river clean, he brought it back to the place he's called home for more than 20 years.
So we went out and unzipped it. We saw tubes and cans of fluid.
It was a mobile meth lab. Police seized the products that very day. Fast forward a few years, and his address is still listed on the DEA's registry.
It's kind of disturbing because it could have an effect for somebody, wanting to buy the house later on.
Valin requested an immediate removal. In a letter to the DEA, he stated, "I have lived at this address since November of 1991 and know of no drug activity at this residence." With no response from the feds so far, I called for answers.
This is Ryan Smith with KCCI.
A spokesperson told me, quote, "The DEA will look into his case and determine whether his address should be removed from the registry or remain." Meantime, this Good Samaritan's home is plagued by a drug-related stigma.
It would raise an alarm and it would raise questions.
John Cruzenjerna specializes in a very unique cleaning service. A seemingly endless supply of industrial-strength sprays and liquids line his shelves, but his specialty doesn't cater to carpets or laundry. He spends hours scrubbing surfaces clean after a drug bust.
It's pretty quick and painless, but it is going to tell us whether there is methamphetamine residue present or not.
A KCCI investigation exposed hundreds of Des Moines area homes flagged by the Drug Enforcement Administration. The registry details where meth labs once were.
You guys were told nothing about
No,
this?
nothing.
Most residents were unaware their home once housed a dangerous drug operation.
Small children are going to have problems. They get around movement, crawling on the carpet. They're playing with toys or putting toys in their mouth that were on the floor. Those toys are potentially now contaminated with that methamphetamine residue.
That's where Iowa CTS Cleaners comes in. Cruz and Jerna takes 4 swabs using methanol to ID if meth residue still exists.
Your furnace is great because that's the heart of your ventilation system in your house. So anything that goes throughout your air, it's going to be going through your furnace.
And that means carpet, furniture, everything inside must go. His team then spends up to 4 days decontaminating the property.
That's correct. We actually go through, we spray every possible square inch of that house that we can get to.
Hoping that by scrubbing every surface, a home can be salvaged.